Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the life of a true giant of history, a man whose words and actions reshaped a nation and inspired the world. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The "I Have a Dream" speech, the marches, the basic outline. But trust me, there's so much more to his story. We're going to go beyond the textbook version to understand the man, the strategist, and the revolutionary thinker who he truly was. Let's start at the beginning. Michael King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, you heard that right, Michael. So, from a young age, Martin Luther King Jr. was steeped in the tradition of the Black Church, a powerful institution that would become the bedrock of his activism. He grew up in a middle-class family, relatively comfortable for the time, but the brutal reality of segregation was inescapable. But still being told you could sit at a certain lunch counter or drink from a certain water fountain simply because of the color of your skin. These early experiences lit a fire in him, a deep-seated passion for justice that would define his entire life. He studied the works of great thinkers, from Jesus to Gandhi to King understood that fighting violence with violence would only lead to a cycle of destruction. Instead, he believed the most powerful weapon was love and peaceful resistance. The goal wasn't to defeat or humiliate the opponent, but to awaken their moral conscience and win them over to the side of justice. This was a radical idea, and it took immense courage and discipline to put into practice. You all know the story of Rosa Parks, a courageous woman who refused to give up her bus seat to a white man. What followed was the Montgomery Bus Boycott, a massive coordinated effort where nearly 50,000 black citizens refused to ride the city buses for 381 days. Think about the logistics of that. People walked for miles, organized carpools, and made incredible sacrifices, all under King's leadership. They faced threats. King's own house was bombed and constant harassment, but they held the line, and they won. The Supreme Court ruled that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. Montgomery was the victory that catapulted King onto the national stage and proved that nonviolent protest could achieve real, tangible change. Following Montgomery, King co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC, in 1957. This organization gave him a platform to coordinate and support nonviolent protests across the South. In the letter, he masterfully defends the strategy of direct action, famously writing that justice too long delayed is justice denied. Bull Connor responded exactly as they predicted he would, unleashing high-pressure fire hoses and police dogs on the young, peaceful protesters. The images were horrifying and broadcast worldwide, shocking the conscience of the nation and the world. The pressure became immense, leading to the desegregation of Birmingham and paving the way for major civil rights legislation. This is where King delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. Over 250,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in a powerful display of unity. What's fascinating about this speech is that the most famous part, the "I Have a Dream" refrain, was actually improvised. He pushed his notes aside and launched into one of the most powerful and recognizable pieces of oratory in history. The first attempt to march was met with horrific violence on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, an event that became known as Bloody Sunday. Again, the televised images of state troopers brutally attacking peaceful marchers galvanized the nation. He began to speak out more forcefully against what he called the triple evils of racism, economic exploitation, and militarism. He launched the Poor People's Campaign, a multicultural effort to demand economic justice for all poor Americans, regardless of race. He was planning a massive march on Washington to demand an economic Bill of Rights. This is the part of King's legacy that is often overlooked. He understood that legal equality wasn't enough if economic inequality persisted. He was becoming more radical in his vision for a just America. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us the power of nonviolence, the courage of conviction, and the moral imperative to fight for justice. He wasn't a saint. He was a complex human being with flaws and doubts like any of us. But he was a man who, when faced with hatred and violence, responded with an unwavering belief in the power of love and justice to redeem the soul of America. His dream is not yet fully realized, but his life's work continues to inspire us to bend that long arc of the moral universe a little closer toward justice. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history.